region. Together with Xiandong Jing, Chairman of Ant Group, and Fred Ho, Founder, Chairman, and CEO of Primavera Capital Group. Leading the conversation, our moderator, Drew Propson, Technology and Innovation in Financial Services, World Economic Forum. Please welcome them all on stage.
Great. Welcome, everyone, to this session on curating the new FinTech era. Certainly a very forward-looking topic, and I'm absolutely delighted to be exploring this and discussing it with such an esteemed panel of experts here from really across the FinTech ecosystem. As we kick off, I have a question, same question for each of you, and I really want us to maybe take a look at the current environment and think forward. Where is it that perhaps technology is moving most quickly in reshaping financial services? And what are perhaps the most exciting changes in the near term that customers will see? And when I talk about customers, I mean both businesses as well as individuals. So, Chris, I'll start with you, please.
First of all, I must congratulate the team and Invest Hong Kong for putting together this panel, because after all, it's quite a good composition with people from the regulatory government side, from the investor side, and also with the innovators here. And talking about the question you mentioned, I think in general, FinTech, we encompasses two key technologies. One is blockchain, one is AI. And for the former, what you can see is that at the market level, the government has been taking a lot of initiative in terms of leading the market in tokenizing our bond issuances. And right now, we have already done more than once, and also one is more than just Hong Kong dollar, but multiple currencies. And what we found out is that when we do the settlement on-chain with the both securities and the cash tokens during the DVP, basically the settlement cycle can be reduced from 5 to 1 day. So it's more a market efficiency level that you see as a benefit. So another benefit that you see, apart from the market, is more from the corporate angle, as you mentioned. We have surveyed the financial institutions in Hong Kong, and basically right now, about 75% have already either adopted or piloted generative AI. So hopefully in 3 to 5 years' time, this number is going to rise to more than 87%. So in this context, customers will benefit, because after all, with AI adoption, with more efficient and also more user-friendly services, there will be a greater user experience. And finally, in terms of at the individual level, as you mentioned, just now we heard the speech by the Deputy Governor of People's Bank of China, and one thing that he mentioned is about the payment connect that we had with them. I think it's another technology that we are adopting and also facilitating the seamless cross-boundary flow of payments at a more livelihood level in such a way that the Greater Bay Area and also the cross-boundary payment angle can be further enhanced. So in general, I would say there are three things happening at the market, at the corporate, and also in the individuals where blockchain and AI is benefiting the market.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Eric, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I totally agree with Chris that AI and blockchain are going to reshape the financial services. Let me elaborate a little bit. For the financial service sector, it's really kind of the data-rich and language-heavy business. Data-rich is obvious for language-heavy because the financial product services is really kind of very abstract and complex and credit-based. They have relied heavily on the language for description, for the communication. So by saying that, so the Gen AI, we have a profound impact on the financial sector. So not on one particular domain, but not a few, really on every domains of the financial sector, from the back office all the way to the customer-facing interface. I think that's going to happen. So the near-term change, I can expect maybe for every kind of customers of the bank, they're going to have a dedicated account manager, which is an AI agent. So be answering questions, be resolve the problems, give you personalized recommendations, 724 at the minimum cost. But behind that is really kind of the multi-agent systems, agentic systems in a bank. So that's something I can expect in the near term for the will be coming up for the in the financial sector by application of AI. So talking about tokenization. Tokenization that is powered by blockchain converts various assets into tokens on the chain, right? Enables assets to be traded very transparently, very credibly across institutions, across markets. So what I see the two near-term changes we can expect. One is on the payment areas. So with tokenized money, tokenized fiat currency, tokenized bank deposit, or tokenized or other settlement tokens. So with that, we can really achieving kind of real-time global payment that will benefit global trade, enhance the global trade settlement efficiency. Will benefit every companies engaging in global trade. That's one near-term change. The other one, I think, with more regulated kind of innovation norms, with more kind of regulated institutions participation. I mean, under Web3, I mean, the transactions on blockchain is beginning to shifting from purely speculation to the value exchange. I think we'll be seeing an increase in adoption of the tokenized economy, tokenized financial services. That's a two changes going to be driven by the blockchain. Yeah, that's my comment on that.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The investor perspective, Fred, do you want to round us out?
Yeah, first of all, I echo what Chris and Eric have said about the fundamental role of AI in reshaping, transforming financial services industry as we know it. Because AI is such incredibly important foundational general purpose technology. It has huge potential to reshape, financial services, end to end, the entire workflow, the entire ecosystem, from product offering to customer acquisition, customer service, to enterprise productivity, risk management, right? So insofar it's going to dramatically increase the efficiency, productivity of financial services, make finance more easily accessible to the general public, right? So make it more democratic, more inclusive, but also make them more secure, more reliable, sounder in terms of financial stability and risk mitigation. So, this is terribly exciting change right now. So from investor point of view, so there's such a variety of high potential, high promise, high return opportunities. Obviously, depending on who you are, right? You may want to do many of them, you want to do some of them. So from my point of view, I'm most excited about maybe three potential areas, especially here in Asia. One is AI-driven wealth management, the wealth tech, like AI robot advisors. Yeah. Because Asia, now following US, particularly with the rise of China, India, Southeast Asia. So Asia become the epicenter of wealth creation, right? On the hill of the United States. So especially with the mass affluent, given the sheer numerical number, traditional financial service will be hard pressed to meet the needs. So we have to go automation, go through AI to meet the demand for wealth management service here in Asia. By the way, I think Eric and also financial inclusion. So that's only possible if we use an AI technology. The traditional high-touch brick model, just not well equipped to meet this demand, right? The second area I'd highlight is really the whole green finance and sustainability. Again, why it's so important? Because we are right in the center of global green technology innovation, energy transition, and decarbonization. China is the undisputed global leader in renewable energy, in EV, in batteries, in storage, and financial services need to keep up. So I think there's a lot of potential for us, already Chinese financial institutions, including and the companies and issue more green bonds, green loans than anywhere else in the world. So here in Hong Kong, as the financial center, we can really harness the creative innovation potential of AI to lead the world in green finance. The last one I would mention briefly, just for the sake of brevity, is using AI for better cross-border payments. We already have it, but it's very, very fragmented, antiquated. So with the AI, we make the cross-border payments more instantaneous, faster, more secure, and easier, and for both B2B and B2C. So that will further, help, globalization in the face of tariff wars and all the stuff, right? So we can use technology, break the barriers, make the finance borderless, seamless. So again, I put my bet on AI to help us achieve that.
Fantastic. So a lot going on with innovation technologies. A lot of everything you mentioned could be very global in nature. I want us to take this to a very local point for a moment. And Chris, I'll come to you. I know mentioned earlier this morning was the talent conversation in Hong Kong, really being able to drive a lot of that talent. If we're looking at Cyberport in particular, as global trends in 2025 integrate blockchain with AI and DeFi for real-world applications, Cyberport schemes fund pilots such as maritime asset tokenization and blockchain-based ticketing solutions. How do these initiatives, paired with Policy Statement 2.0's focus on talent development, position Hong Kong as a leader in embedding digital assets across finance, trade, and the real economy?
I think you are referring to an earlier policy statement that we have provided, basically highlighted the government's one government approach in terms of trying to grow the digital asset market here in Hong Kong. And to summarize the initiatives that we have put them under the framework of called LEAP, to encompass LEAP. For L is more about legal and compliance. In particular, we've already enacted the law on stablecoin, which is now being implemented by our banking regulator. And also, we are now reviewing our legislation to make sure that they are compatible with smart contracts going forward. And for the E, it's about expansion of product suites to encompass more tokenized product, as you mentioned, including the tokenized investment in maritime income, which I'll come back to later on. And for A, is about the advancing of use cases, in particular the Cyberport program you mentioned. Basically, the idea is that we hope through Cyberport as a matchmaker, we can try to identify projects where the financial institutions can work with the FinTech companies and also put them in commercialization. And so far, there are already 9 projects in stream, and they are now being incubated, so to speak, by Cyberport. And I would broadly classify them into 3 broad categories. One is more finance-related, as you mentioned, about investment. And right now, a project being undertaken is in terms of how we can tokenize the long-term income arising from the maritime vessel rental in such a way that they can be converted into investment products. Because after all, it is verifiable, traceable. At the same time, it's a very stable income stream that right now, with interest rate coming down, could be of interest to investors. So it's something more on the investment side. And another thing which is in between, about finance, but also about market efficiency angle, is about a project undertaken by a FinTech company to facilitate payment of credit cards, payment settlement to the merchandise. Because right now, if you talk about the credit card payment at the customer end, of course it's easy, you wipe the card. But once the money has to go to the merchandise, basically it takes up to 72 hours or even more. But now with AI or even blockchain being adopted, the idea is that these 72 hours can be reduced to less than 10 seconds. So it will be a tremendous benefit to the merchandise. They can get the money early. And at the same time, once the bank uses technology, which is blockchain in nature, they don't need to have a blockchain technology of its own. Basically, they can leverage this technology developed by our FinTech company, hosted by our Cyberport to do that. So it's more in between, finance and also payment related. And the third one, which I'm sure what your question is alluded to, is more about livelihood, like basic livings of people. As all of you know, right now we have a large-scale covered stadium called Kitech, which has been hosting many major events. And one thing that is always come as a pain point is that how we can ensure the one who's holding the ticket is the one that has already bought it. So one of the technologies and also innovations being incubated also by our cyberport is to utilize the so-called decentralized identity in such a way that you don't need to have a centralized database to keep everybody's name, but rather you have a bespoke token or QR code, which is really akin to the buyer of the ticket and also is in possession by the organizer, in such a way that we can check the identity of the ticket holder, make sure that it's correct with no scalping, yet to make sure that no privacy issue arises. So all in all, we can see that the StartmeupHK program is trying to be as encompassing as possible, not just finance related, but also to cover the basic livelihood and also the daily lives issues, especially those pain points that we need to deal with.
Yeah, thank you very much. Eric, we talked a little bit about the various technologies already in the last question, but I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into that. And how is Hong Kong leveraging frontier technologies such as AI and Web3 to enhance its financial services system and improve service quality? What lessons can be drawn from Ant's experience in particular as a fintech leader in this space?
Yeah, Hong Kong, the Hong Kong regulator, Hong Kong made the need in the past to push the application of AI and Web3 via the sandbox mechanisms. We are very honored to join the sandbox. The first one is Project Assemble. Through Project Assemble, actually last year, we really achieved kind of the real-time settlement across the branches in different markets of the same global bank. The interbank real-time settlement last year by working together with some other participants in the sandbox, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank. So this year we kind of through the interoperable layer of the Project Assemble, we realize across bank the real-time settlement through the tokenized bank deposit. So that's really giving a huge kind of the confidence that through this tokenized deposit, tokenized money, we can really achieve the global real-time settlement. That's number one. Secondly, on the Jing AI, we also participated in that sandbox as well. It's really kind of pushing the use of AI for the two areas. From our perspective, that one is using our digital tech. Part of Ant Group, they help the banks here to build AI agents. So basically, AI agents will be there, so really providing the different kind of services in the different domains in the bank. Secondly, is really focusing on the risk assessment, because with Jing AI, can optimize the financial analysis and also can have a good analysis on unstructured data. That's very critical. So it's really about using AI for the broader kind of credit assessment, the risk management in that areas. So what I was learning there is really, I mean, 4 pillars are very essential to kind of drive that the success of Sandbox. I think the 4 things. Number one is really regulated innovation. Second one is really use case driven. Third one is about collaborative ecosystem. We need the participants are from different backgrounds. There are banks, there are tech companies, there are some other participants working together closely. The last but not least is really it's about so there was the last one. I forgot the last one. So the use case driven, the collaborative, and also with the regulatory innovation. Those are critically important to come up together.
Yeah.
That's my comment. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe, Fred, as we look a bit more across Asia, as an investor shaping Asia's technology landscape, what do you see as the most promising fintech frontiers? You talked a little bit about AI before. And how can capital be deployed to ensure long-term sustainable growth in Asia and beyond?
Yeah, I already mentioned in earlier comments. I think in Asia, AI has so much potential across such a wide spectrum, right? I think there's so many different opportunities to adopt AI, transform financial services to serve the real economy. I mentioned the wealth management. I mentioned green finance, sustainability, and I would say, it's also financial inclusion. I think because Asia, much of Asia population is still kind of, from low income to middle, high income, emerging middle class. So that's for many of them still they're not well served by traditional financial services, to say this, right? That's not just individual customers, but also SME, small and medium-sized enterprises, okay? So to really make a financial service available to them, whether it's credit, bond financing, or equity and wealth management tools, or even risk management tools, I think AI is the promise. AI is the answer. So I think, private sector, investors like us, and society at large should channel more resources into those areas so we can fully unleash the potential of AI and the transform of financial services here in Asia.
Yeah, thank you. Chris, back to you. I do want to, again, go local, and I really want to think through that regulatory support mechanism alongside Cyberport, and talk a little bit further, too, as well about digital assets. So Policy Statement 2.0 establishes a licensing regime for digital assets, and Cyberport's Blockchain and Digital Asset Pilot Subsidy Scheme, launched this year in June, funds compliant pilots with up to 500,000 Hong Kong dollars. How does this synergy ensure projects align with regulatory standards while enhancing investor confidence and market liquidity in Hong Kong?
Yeah. I think you point to a very important area that we're looking into is in terms of why we are doing all these kind of sandboxes or subsidy programs. I think the idea is not just to cultivate more innovation, but in particular to see what kind of regulatory feedback that we can get in such a way that we can, in one hand, try to engender more innovation. On the other hand, try to what are the policy or regulatory issues that we need to deal with to facilitate more innovation. Like, for example, one thing that we have done is in terms of clarifying the stamp duty waiver that's currently applicable to ETFs. We have already clarified that also to include digitalized ETFs if they are traded on some of our regulated digital asset exchanges. And the idea is that before we have these science sandboxes, before these types of innovations, we don't really know exactly where are the areas within our existing policy framework that we need to revamp. But with these new cases, then in turn, provide a very good feedback to us. That's why we identified this in the area that we look into. And another area that you are interesting is about the tokenization in terms of the money market fund. Because right now it is a very liquid market, at the same time draw a lot of capital. But at the same time, there are a lot of corporates. On a daily basis, they have ample cash to invest in. If you rely solely on the current banking system, there could be a time lag in terms of when they get the cash and also when they can get the yield. But with a blockchain that are bridging this gap, we can allow a lot of seamless investments of these corporate funds. And this is something I'm sure that also being contemplated and also adopted by across many asset managers in Hong Kong in such a way that once they see a market opportunity, they will leverage the opportunity to maximize the benefit so long as it fits the regulation that we have in place.
Yeah, great. I know we could speak all day on this topic, but I know we're going to hit up against time here pretty quickly. So one last question, or two last questions, one for you, Fred, and then Eric, I'll give the last one to you for the last word here. But talking about Hong Kong's positioning a little bit, Fred, Hong Kong positions itself as a trusted bridge between the mainland and global markets. From your perspective, what makes Hong Kong uniquely suited to anchor this connectivity in the fintech space? What are the key enablers maybe still needed to strengthen the role?
Right. Shall I start?
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Hong Kong obviously is the preeminent international financial center, but also is here in China, right, as a big part of China. So all the advantages, I can think of New York or London or Singapore. Hong Kong has them all and more, okay, because it's part of China. So this is such a unique advantages, I think I would say, tribute to Chris and his colleagues in the Hong Kong government and the HKMA and SFC and Hong Kong Stock Exchange. They have done wonderful job, laid the foundation. So Hong Kong has world-class, regulatory infrastructure, legal system and the openness. Okay, if one thing I would like to suggest, for Hong Kong to fully leverage its fullest potential, particularly when it comes to AI for finance, is data connectivity. Okay, even we are in a very strange time in the world right now. Deglobalization, trade wars, tariff, and all that. And one thing, data is the biggest casualty. Okay, in the name of national security, data now become fragmented. Right, it's very difficult for data to move across borders. More difficult than capital and immigrants. Okay, than people, I would say. So if we maintain that fragmented data system, then the potential of AI will be capped. Because when we speak of AI, people often forget. AI is similar to data. No data, no AI, right? So if data cannot be put, if mainland customer come to Hong Kong and AIA, HSBC, and do not have the data, how they could offer, personalized service, customization, to us, right? So no way. So I think Hong Kong and the mainland China should be well positioned to figure out a way enable inter-regional data transfer and sharing. With all that, still would make sure both Hong Kong and the mainland China feel very, very good. Data is secure, is reliable, protects consumers' privacy and the confidentiality. Okay, so if anyone can do it, I believe Hong Kong and the mainland China can do it. And if we're successful, then this can be replicated, say, between Hong Kong, Singapore, China, Southeast Asia, and eventually the world will become a more integrated place. So that's the area I would encourage Chris and the Hong Kong government to focus and invest.
Yeah. And Eric, I will give you the last word here. Would love to hear same from you, but then also and strategy and operations from Hong Kong, helping Chinese businesses really expand internationally, and how are they then helping enhance the competitiveness? So, and I have to ask, I'm sorry, if you could do this within 30 seconds or so would be fantastic.
Yeah, Hong Kong is not our advantages. They have world's leading financial systems. They have outstanding professional services, and they have a pool of their tenants with global insights, global knowledge. So this is really a very critical hub for China company to go global via Hong Kong. So and have been invested heavily in Hong Kong, and through Hong Kong, we're really reaching out to the rest of the world to building our business. And the group will also develop a suite of their product services to help Chinese companies go global. So it's including help you to collect payment globally, help you to managing the global trading, trade finance. That's really, help Chinese people to go global, particularly for the people engaging global kind of their sell products through global marketplaces. I know Hong Kong's government has also announced recently their Go Global task force. They're established that task force. I think that's good news for everyone. So please capitalize on this opportunity by leveraging Hong Kong to go global. That's what I suggest.
Those are excellent words to wrap us up. Thank you so much to all three of you. Really appreciate your insights here, your experiences, your activities. I think it's given us a great window into the future, and certainly Hong Kong is going to be at the center of that, being such a strong innovation hub. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Facilitation of payments, AI integration, business technologies, data transfer with privacy and connectivity. This is what we learned from our esteemed speakers. Thank you very much.